What's up? What's up? What's up? Real estate development family, how you doing? I'm Sam, also known as the Pro Design Builder. I know there's new people to this group, so I have to make sure that I introduce myself. I'm Sam, also known as the Pro Design Builder, and I have been a design build general contractor for the last 8 years. And I'll just tell you a little bit about how I got started, right? So, years and years ago, it was 20, I think it was like 2011. And I had encouraged my wife to go to med school, right? And she got in. She was going to med school in the islands in Anguilla, right? And right before she was supposed to go, she wrote me this letter and she said that she pretty much said I didn't want to go. I didn't foresee us having the family life that we envision now. Thank God she didn't go, and a whole bunch of other really good reasons. But I remember saying to her, all right, so if you're going to stay, then what are you going to do? Right? What are we going to do? Right? And she said, I have this seminar that I bought for real estate, which is Rich Dad Poor Dad. And she gave me the book. And I just remember going through the book. And right after I was done going through that book, it really spoke to me and told me that I needed to be an investor. So what we did is we went to that seminar that she had, all right? And after that, you know how it is when you go to a seminar, you're like elated, like yeah, let's go. We're gonna conquer the world. We're gonna just do this thing, right? And obviously, with time passing and the information goes by, if you don't act on the information, it kind of slowly goes away. But it still had my heart. So I had to go to one more seminar, and it was the Fortune Builders seminar. And then right after that, I just started taking massive action. I knew I had a friend at the title company. I was very green as a real estate investor, and I like to tell this story because this just tells you what action does, right? I remember I had a friend at the title company, and I didn't even know what an escrow was. So I would do marketing, get the phones to ring, and when somebody would call me, I would call him at the title company. He's like, "What do I do? Where do I check off on the contract? Where do I put the escrow line?" Sam, don't put zero on, the escrow line, right? Where do I put the number on the contract? I really didn't have any idea, but I knew I wanted to get myself involved in real estate, right? Little did I know that this would grow into a construction company and development business, and I'll tell you exactly kind of how all of that happened. Um, so that was my first deal. I got it. The first deal fell apart because it was just such a bad property. But my second deal, I wholesale deal I did, and I just remember getting that check, and then that check helped me pay for my wedding, and I felt so good after that. After getting that bite of the apple, I was just like, I was just like elated. I was just kind of like, this is it. Real estate is this is where I'm gonna be, right? So, but what happened was when I started flipping houses on my first deal, I hired a contractor, I fired a contractor. I hired a second contractor, I fired a second contractor. I hired a third contractor, and on my third contractor, we got through the project. Thank goodness the numbers were good. We still made money, but I quickly realized this business had contractor problems, right? And I was just never going to be happy with the level of execution, preparation, or anything else that came to construction with the contractors that I was coming up against, right? So I was meeting. So what happened is I started running my own projects. Right? I started getting really good at getting in and out of projects. I would be able to turn a house in 45, 50 days. I had a small crew that was able to execute very quickly. And then what happened is the market started to change just a little bit. I didn't know that the market was going to just continue to go up, but I felt the shift happening. I had a partnership, investor partnership that was changing a little bit too, and then so I decided to spring off into construction. right? So kind of like how everybody else starts out, I started just doing what everybody else was doing. And then I quickly realized, and I said this to myself, it was 2 years into construction. I said to my wife, I was like, I don't know if I'll ever be happy in this business, right? But what happened is what that made me do is find education, all right? And then when I found education, I found my mentor, and he dropped a big nugget on me at a conference. I started just devouring podcasts. I started devouring anything and everything that allowed me to get better at my craft. And when I learn something, I immediately apply it. So I don't know what type of learner you are, and that's probably the best way to do it. Anytime I learn something new, I just immediately apply it, right away. And that gave me tremendous benefits. But my mentor Jeff, he told me, he said, Sam, I don't sell a custom home. I don't sell a renovation or anything like that. I sell a system that gets you to that custom home, that gets you to that custom renovation, that gets you to this thing. And I remember writing that down, and I went back and I saw talked to my wife at the hotel, and I said to her, I was like, maybe I've been looking at this business wrong the whole way, right? And it was a systematic approach that really changed the way that I looked at my business and the way that I was doing everything that I did. And obviously, he's a seasoned vet. He's been around for, close to 30 years. They're doing over 10 million. It doesn't happen overnight. So I reached out to Jeff and I said, hey, listen, Jeff, you mind if I come shadow you and see kind of how your machine works? And Jeff was like gracious and said, yeah, come on up. So I flew to Michigan, flew to go see Jeff, shadowed him for 3 days, asked every question, sat in every meeting, went to lunch with him, went to dinner with him. I really wanted to get this area right. And what that did for me was something that was very invaluable, right? I was able to really get the blueprint from start to finish. If you don't know what a design, build, general contractor is we take it from concept to completion, right? So we handle the architect, that's in-house. We handle the designer, that's in-house. We handle the construction, that's all in-house. That's all processes, all systems, all everything. Da 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 da. From start to finish, we are the single point of contact for the project. So what that has done for me is I bring up different level of experience and expertise when it comes to new development projects, right? So I really drill down into doing things that are avoidable and also managing professionals, right, is how we structure our program to make sure that you could get a building off the ground in a timely fashion. So that's my approach. It's a system that gets you to the other side and getting that spec home off the ground. It's a system that gets you to getting that duplex, triplex, fourplex, eightplex off the ground, right? And that's going to be important for you to know moving forward. So I don't know if you caught the last live stream that I did. So I'll just recap a little bit of what that was about. That was about get your mind right. And get your mind right is very important because I'm going to read you some stats a little bit later, and you're going to understand why your mind needs to be right in this current inflationary environment. So last week in Get Your Mind Right, I talked about the book Who Moved My Cheese, right? And the story was it was four mice, Sniff and Scurry, Hem and Haw. Sniff and Scurry quickly adapt. They move on. They quickly adapt because their cheese was missing. They move on, searching for new cheese without overanalyzing or resisting change. Hem and Haw, a little bit different. Hem refuses to accept change and stays in place, hoping the cheese will return. Haw, after much hesitation, eventually realizes and then adapts to change. Right? So what this is describing is different personality types and what happens in different environments, right? I'm a sniff and scurry. I adapt to new environments very quickly. I know that there needs to be a move. The cheese is moved. The inflation has changed. Things need to operate a little bit differently for you to succeed, right? And keep it moving and take messy action is what's going to be required in this next chapter, right? So I was listening to a podcast the other day, and this one particular investor, he owns tens of thousands of units, right? And they were talking about how the funds in different private equity firms and stuff like that are looking at their current investment holdings. And here's what this inflationary environment looks like. So what the expectations are is the inflation is here to stay. So this is the new normal, right? They're expecting asset classes to continue to rise, right? Rents to continue to increase because there's this big glaring issue, and this is not going to go away anytime soon, right? 4.5 million homes short in the U.S., right? That issue is not getting solved by itself anytime soon, and that's why I want to create and coach the next 500 developers, right? Because there's a system and a process and a learning curve that has to happen for you to get to the other side. This game is dominated by the big conglomerates, right? And the biggest thing that's going to hold you back is experience. That's just hands down, right? When it comes to banking, the banks want to see experience. When it comes to working with contractors, that's going to require experience. When it comes to working with attorneys, that's going to require experience. But once you get out the blocks and you get that experience, then you're good to go, right? So the challenge is getting out of the blocks, right? So that's the taking the messy action. So that was what Get Your Mind Right was about last week. So I wanted to read something to you because this is very alarming, right? But it's good for you to know. This came out 2 days ago, right? The top 10% of Americans are propping the economy. Here's what will happen if they stop spending. All right, stock prices will undergo a corrective reset of growth expectations, but not a recessionary bear market. A recent Wall Street Journal article revealed that the top 10% of Americans account for about half of all consumer spending. The collective excess savings, this group rose and remained steady in the wake of massive fiscal and monetary COVID. By contrast, the excess savings of the other 90% of Americans have declined. So what they're saying is anybody that makes over $250,000 a year is propping up the economy, right? Their savings are growing, but everybody else is feeling the pinch. And for me, I'm feeling the pinch too. Absolutely, I am feeling the pinch. For me, I'm in South Florida, and anytime I go to Publix, I give myself 5 minutes to walk into Publix and run out of Publix. I want to run out of Publix as fast as possible because Publix, they got great service, but their prices are high, right? So if I'm feeling it, and then also with construction, I definitely feel it because in construction, everything goes up first in construction. That's where you feel it first. The consumer is later, is where they see it in their food and stuff like that. When you're dealing with construction and materials and stuff like that, you're seeing that stuff first. You're seeing those increases first. You're getting those emails from your trade contractors, your HVAC, your mechanical, your electrical, saying, hey, Sam, this is going to cost this much. Windows, hey, Sam, the windows are going up 20%. And then all those things, what happens is gets passed on to the consumer. All right. So in this specific instance, what happens is you build the property and you hold. Right. That's what I coach. I coach that you for spec homes, single family homes. It doesn't make as much sense. Go ahead and sell those. Make a profit there. But multifamily units, you buy and you hold, right? There's massive benefits there. You get to depreciate the asset 27 and a half years. You get to collect rent on a monthly basis. It's a new asset. The asset class continues to rise. And the reason it continues to rise is because there's no inventory, right? There's a inventory problem. That's why this group exists, because I want to create more developers, because this problem is a mathematical equation, right? The challenge is there's not enough experience in this specific space to get off the ground, right? And I'm going to change that. So that's exactly what the next chapter of real estate looks like, and that's not going to change anytime soon. So that's why a lot of private equities and family offices are investing in real estate for the long term, with the expectations of collecting and increasing rents. So that's the strategy long term, and that's from the big boys, right? So understand, you need to be looking at real estate from that standpoint as well. So I recently went over. I'm going to go over how to find off-market deals. As a developer, you're looking at creating your own opportunity. This is what I love about being a developer and also a contractor investor, right? I get to find a particular parcel, sometimes a house, and knock it down. I prefer a house. All right, there's multiple reasons for that. The sewer hookups are already there, so there's less impact fees. All right, if you don't know what impact fees are, you can look up impact fees. Those are just additional costs to hook up to the city water, and you minimize that if there was a property already attached to it. So we're looking for properties that are already attached. Might be the smallest home in a very nice neighborhood, maybe 2 bedrooms or something like that. We knock it down, and then we maximize the height with everything when it comes to that property. That's the opportunity we get to create, right? And we can be as creative as we need to. Not going to overbuild, right? We want to maximize that particular space and maximize the profit on that particular project. So let's talk about finding off-market deals and how to do that. Understanding what off-market deals are, right? So off-market deals are properties not listed on the MLS, right? Not on any public platform. And there's very distinct advantages that happen when they're not publicly listed, and I'll kind of go over those with you. So it offers investors less competition, better pricing, and direct negotiation with the sellers, right? So there's multiple options that you have as a developer to control a property, right? You might be able to get seller finance on it. You might be able to bring the seller along and not have to close on the front side of the land, right? It's all about deal structure, right? So common types of off-market properties are distressed properties, pre-foreclosures, probates, absentee owners, expired listings. All of those are going to be opportunities for you to get a project off the ground, right? So identify, pick your asset class, right? If you're going to be doing single family homes, lock in on just single family homes, right? Master that particular vertical, right? If you're going to be doing multifamily homes, or you're going to be doing land acquisition and entitlements, focus on that particular thing, right? If you are looking at commercial properties, that's a completely different beast, and that will probably need one-on-one consulting for that particular vertical. But pick one lane, right? You don't want to be scattered between lanes, right? Pick one lane, get your first project done, master the process that's attached to it, and then from there you can kind of diversify at a later date. And this is about being a long-term investment, running it as a business, and not a single one-off transaction. So that's what that looks like. All right, so lead generation. This is how you come up with leads to acquire different properties. So send personalized letters or postcards to motivated sellers, right? So I'll tell you about one. This was a driving for dollars opportunity that that I got, right? So I saw this one particular property. I had mailed this particular guy, and then I put a letter on that particular door, right? And then you make your money in the follow up. So I followed up over and over and over and over. And then I sent him this letter because I had heard about yellow letters and stuff like that. I sent him this letter and I stuck $1 in it. Right? I stuck $1 in the envelope. I printed out a picture of some nuts, and then I mailed out this particular letter. And then the letter said, "There's more where this came from. You're nuts if you don't call me." Right? And guess what happened? Sam, you got my attention. Right? I also have 4 other properties that I need to get rid of. Understanding that sometimes when a homeowner needs to sell a property, and especially if it's distressed, you can't miss the personal connection and the personal opportunity because you're solving a personal problem for them, right? In this particular instance, he said to me, "Sam, my wife don't even want to hear anything about real estate because I have 4 properties and they're all underwater, and she don't even." So I sat down with him, sat down with his wife, kind of got the whole story, processed these transactions, and I got 4 deals from this one particular letter. So these things work, right? So driving for dollars, physically scout neighborhoods for distressed properties, overgrown yards, boarded up windows. These are all looking for opportunity. I'll tell you a funny story. I was in one particular neighborhood, right? And I saw this sign. It was boarded up house. The grass was cut, and I went to this property, and then I nailed my bandit sign to this particular house, right? Because this works multifaceted. One, the homeowner might come by and they'll call you, or an investor might swing by and call you, and then now you can add different contacts to your buyers list, right? So so I put this sign on this boarded up house, and then I get a call right away, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" She's like, "Oh, you just put this sign on my house, and this is not a safe area. That's why the house is boarded up, but it's not abandoned. Da 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 da." And I was shocked. I was shocked that someone is living in a house that's boarded up like that because it's not safe. But you run into all sorts of things in situations like this. So this is first showing you how to find off-market deals, right? In later videos, we'll talk about exactly what are steps that you need to take to get certain aspects of the building off the ground, right? So right now, I'm constantly posting different clips from a 22 unit development project. So you probably have seen some of the videos attached to that where I'm kind of explaining exactly what happens on a construction site when it comes to getting that project off the ground. I'm going to be doing stuff like that more and more and more, and try to get you the most educated that I can, right? So the biggest thing is always going to be elevating your education when it comes to this particular space. You cannot be a rookie investor in development. So you're going to have to really know your stuff, right? Networking events, right? Getting the word out, talking to agents, talking to wholesalers, talking to attorneys, right? Well, whether it's probate, divorce attorneys, different property management, there's opportunities there too. Other investors, getting connected to, RIAs. The more people you know, the more handshakes that you do, the closer you're going to be connected to getting these projects off the ground. And you're going to need these relationships to be able to get those things off the ground. Also, too, one great way to target certain homeowners or parcels, right? You want to do online or social media strategy. What does that look like, right? So if you do a lead sheet, most of you guys came in through a lead sheet, right? So I said to you, I was like, hey, if you're a real estate investor and you want to be a developer, click the link below to join my group, right? So that's a call out, right? Same thing that you'll do for homeowners that want to sell a parcel, right? Hey, if you own a piece of land, you want to sell it quickly, we have cash, click the link below. We'll send your offer in 48 hours, right? So those are the types of things on social that you're going to need to do to get in front of the right parcel, right? But typically what you could do is find the neighborhood, mine that particular neighborhood, have the understanding that you're going to be there for the next 10 to 20 years, and then mind and control that particular neighborhood. You don't need to be bouncing all around. So we don't need to make this super complicated. But if you are doing more transactions, you might want to do some of these strategies that I'm talking now. All right. So networking with wholesalers always come up with different opportunities, making sure that you partner with them to get in front of these opportunities before the list gets in front of all of these opportunities. Also checking public records, looking for probates, looking for pre-foreclosures, tax liens, evictions, any area that there's a area of opportunity of distress. And never, never, never miss the opportunity to personally connect with people, right? I can't wait to continue to grow inside this group and personally connect with people and kind of get people's stories and understand exactly why they want to get involved in new development and grow their family's fortune in business. But we'll get to that at a certain time point. We are working on a few things that we have up our sleeves. We're going to be running a boot camp soon. All right, so be on the lookout for that. There'll probably be an early bird special for the small amount of people that are in this group. But this group is going to continue to grow, all right, as I will continue to do some marketing to grow the group. So I'm always just looking to add value to whoever that wants to grow in this capacity. And getting in a room and getting all of the nitty-gritty details is probably going to be the best way to do that, and also taking massive action. So that's that. So, and then having a follow-up system to get in front of off-market deals. So that's going to be very important, right? Continuing to follow up. You make your money in the follow-up. Right, you make the first contact with them, they're never ready. Only 3% of people are ready to go at any particular time. 7 follow-ups, 8 follow-ups, 9 follow-ups. Now this deal begins to come together, right? So those are the steps that are needed to find off-market deals. And then from there, as we continue to build from this foundation, learning how to structure and finance particular properties, etc., is going to be your next steps. So hopefully you guys got some significant value from this particular live stream. We hope to continue to bring to you the best information when it comes to new development. I clearly love what I do. I love helping people. I love seeing people grow. I love seeing people hit their targets, right? So that's what I'm looking to do. Like I said, I'm looking to create 500 developers that will allow us to change the game, change the market, right? There's 4.5 million homes short. It's a mathematical equation. There needs to be more developers in the game, right? They're just a hurdle, right? And I'll help you get there. So outside of that, just wanted to say thank you for another live stream, and be on the lookout for those dates for the boot camp. Have a good day.